This is Steve Robbins. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. We've all dealt with flaky people. Flaky pastries, tasty and delicious. Flaky people, on the other hand, usually slow us down. They get in our way, and they generally keep us from working less and doing more. The problem is that we can't depend on them. So they promise they'll do their part on time and under budget, and then they don't deliver. Or even worse, they simply don't communicate. Deadlines come and go, and we're never quite sure whether we should be waiting for them to finally do what they promised, whether we should assume they've quit and no longer even work for the company, or whether we should be melting a wax sculpture of them over a candle flame because goodness knows nothing else has worked yet. Regardless, if you're like me and you actually are motivated by getting lots of stuff done, you need to master the skill of being able to have a path forward even if the flakes are out in force. Now, since by definition, flaky people don't get things done on time, you can start to rely on this. When coordinating with a flaky person, set up defaults. Defaults are what will happen if they don't deliver. Then make sure they know about it. Europa is now managing Bernice's store, Green Growing Things, while Bernice is formulating strategy. Europa insists that she approve every financial and PR decision that happens at the company. Melvin emails, "The Audrey 2s are growing so large that we need a new greenhouse. Can we spend the money?" Caitlin emails, "I need the inventory level for Band-Aids because we have to reorder." But even though she wants to be in the loop, Europa rarely writes back. "I'm too busy," she cries. Well, of course she's busy. She's in the middle of everything. But Melvin and Caitlin still need to do their jobs. They can go forward by subtly changing how they include Europa, by introducing defaults, what will happen if Europa doesn't respond, and deadlines. They can keep moving forward while still keeping Europa involved. When there's a decision to be made that requires a flaky person's approval, send them the background material, a deadline, and the default decision. Tell Monsieur or Madame Flake that if they don't respond by the deadline, you are assuming that they're giving you tacit approval to go ahead. When Melvin passes along the greenhouse request, he can say, "If I don't hear from you by Friday at noon, I'll assume that you approve of the project and I'll go ahead and hire an architect." He's giving Europa a chance to respond while putting a firm limit on her ability to hold things up. Sometimes your flaky coworker has information you need. Caitlin is waiting for Europa's inventory levels. Without that information, Caitlin can't order new supplies. Or can she? Ideally, if you need information, you need information. But if it's not forthcoming, well, it's not forthcoming. So, choose a reasonable, completely uninformed guess as to what the information would be and move forward with that if the flake doesn't respond. "Europa," Caitlin writes, "I need the Band-Aid inventory levels. If I don't hear back from you by noon Thursday, I'll assume that we're running low and reorder." Yes, you are just guessing, but it's sometimes better to progress with a guess than delay for weeks waiting for information. If you do this, do cover your butt. Before using your educated guess, let your flaky friend know what you're doing. "Europa, I never heard back from you, and now it's Thursday at noon. I'm going to assume that we're running low on Band-Aids and reorder. Toodles." Proceed with your default information, but monitor closely. You're using a guess that might be wildly wrong, so make sure that things are unfolding acceptably every step of the way, and if you notice a deviation, go back and find out if you can make a better guess and change course. Some flakiness can't be handled with defaults. If you depend on someone actually doing something that you can't do on your own, their flakiness can be your showstopper. When you've realized that someone is flaky a lot, set an agreement with them. Explain that you need for operations to run smoothly, and flakiness, for any reason, is not acceptable if it keeps happening. Ask the person what consequence there should be if they miss their handoff again. They'll say, "We don't need consequences. I promise it won't happen again." To which you say, "Well then, if it won't happen again, let's make the consequences be that if there is another delay, the person who missed the handoff pays to take the entire team to lunch. But since, as you say, it won't happen again, this is pretty much a no-brainer and no risk, right?" If your dearest colleague isn't willing to set up consequences, and remember, you are framing this so it's two-way, if it's your fault, you'll buy lunch, then propose an escalation path. Just ask, "I understand it won't happen again. If it does, after how many times should we go together to your boss to help figure out how we can keep it from happening yet again? Since it won't happen again, well, we may as well escalate if it happens again even once, right?" What you're doing here is giving the non-performer a chance to be part of the decision-making process. If they continue to be flaky, you'd have to go to their boss anyway. This way, You're informing them of that and giving them a chance to be part of the escalation process. But make sure to confirm defaults in real life. When you set up a default decision, information, or escalation, make sure to confirm the defaults by phone or in person. Don't just rely on email. Otherwise, your flaky friend might get upset when things do move forward, and your flaky friend will say, "Oh, my spam filter must have eaten your email because I never saw it." If you've spoken to them by phone or in person, they can't say that. Melvin and Caitlin went ahead and set up their defaults. Europa was so overwhelmed that she never got back to them, and they moved forward anyway. Lo and behold, things kept running smoothly. Europa began trusting Melvin and Caitlin's decision-making, so she stopped insisting on being in the middle of every decision, and now she concentrates just on the things where she is genuinely needed. Not only will defaults make things easier for you, but they can lead to everyone being happier, working less, and doing more. This is Steve Robbins. You can find this episode's transcript at getitdone.quickanddirtytips.com, our beautiful, newly redesigned, awesome, amazing, incredible website that puts a gazillion tips under one roof. I work with high performers to achieve extraordinary things in their life, work, and career. For more information, visit steverobbins.com. That's STEVERROBBINS.com. Work less, do more, and have a great life.